Hey gang, Carl White here. This is one of my favorite classes, and the reason why it's one of my favorite classes, it can give you the biggest results, the fastest. And so, of all the things that I teach, I would say marketing to your database is the one thing that most loan officers aren't doing. That if they started doing it, they would see almost immediate results. So if you're just getting started with things, boy, for most loan officers, I would say this is the place to start. And let me just clarify something up front here, is that when we're talking about marketing to your database, if you're just getting started and you don't really have a database yet, you actually, of past clients, by the way, when we talk about marketing to your database, we're talking typically about past clients. But you say, Carl, I don't have a bunch of past clients. Then your database is your friends, family members, people that you've worked with in the past, like people that go to your church, people that know you. Because I'm going to tell you, when you market to those people as if you've already closed their loan, you'll end up closing their loans. And so don't make the mistake by thinking I'm only going to market to those people that I've closed a deal with in the past. Use your sphere of influence and apply these same principles, and you'll get the same results as those people that do have big databases. Now, the reason why this is one of my favorite classes to start off with, again, like I said, is almost the immediate results that we see from this. And again, most loan officers aren't doing it. Now, what kind of results can I expect to see, Carl? Like if I implement this class that you're showing me today, how many more loans am I going to close? And I'm going to tell you that typically what we see is one closed loan per month for every 100 people in your database of closed clients, or for every 100 people in your sphere of influence, which everybody knows at, like around 300 people. So that's what we're really looking to start with is around 300 people. And so again, if you're using the sphere of influence, the people that you know instead of closed loans, just sit down and think of everybody that you know and get rosters of people that attend your church or any kind of social groups that you do and put them in your database. Now, I'm going to tell you that like my dear friend Jay Dacey, Jay has just absolutely mastered this, and Jay gets between 2 to 3 deals each and every month for every 100 people in his past database. So just put that in perspective. If you got 300 people in your past database, I'm expecting you have a minimum of 3 closings per month doing this, right? And assuming that you make, let's just say $2,000 per closed loan, just as a kind of a loan officer average, that's an extra $6,000 a month. Right, that's a $72,000 raise just to do a couple simple things that you can totally offload to 100% to somebody else, and you'll know how to do that at the end of this class. So again, Jay getting 2 to 3, that would be, if you have 300 people in your database, that would be 6 to 9 deals a month. That could be like an extra $15,000 a month in income. So put this to use. Put this to use. All right. So, I think a lot of people have kind of seen this slide, and this actually comes from NAR, National Association of Realtors, where they said that 84% of their clients said they would use the same real estate agent again, when only about, like 12 to 17% did. I think it's actually probably less than that. And I'm sure the loan officers fall in that same category. This isn't just for realtors. And you go, well, why? Why don't people use the same people, same agent, same loan officer? It's because the people forgot about us, right? If you don't stay in contact with them, they're going to forget about you. So that's what we're looking to correct here today. So on marketing to your database, there's a couple things that we do. Number one, and this is just a little off topic, but keep in mind that your realtors are in your database too. People say, well, Carl, when I'm doing my database marketing, do I include my real estate agents? Yes, absolutely. So on your agents, we're going to call them 1 to 2 times per week, and one of our members in our group contacts every day via either email or phone call or Facebook message or texting them, right? So keep in mind that when we're going after the agents, we're only going after what we call the qualified agents, which are agents that are closing at least say 8 to 12 deals buyer side per year. So any agent that's closing about, give or take one buyer side closing per month, they're working with a lot of leads. And so they get leads every single week. So contacting these agents once a week is not too often. Now, if you're contacting agents that hardly, have anything going on, Contacting them once a month is too often because they don't have any clients for you. We don't go after those. We go after the ones that's actually closing stuff. But anyway, on your past database or sphere of influence, we're going to call our clients 3 to 4 times a year. I prefer 4 times a year, and we're going to give you the script here and how we do it. We snail mail. I want you to snail mail everybody once per month, and I'm going to show you some examples of that. I want you to email everybody once per week. I'm going to show you some examples of that. And I want you to text message your agents once per week, and I'm going to give you the script for that, of course. And I want you text messaging your clients 1 to 2 times per year. We'll talk about that too. So let's kind of break this down, and let's go into calling the database first. So I can tell you calling is a very powerful, if you're looking to influence somebody, we basically have 3 ways that we can do it. We can either call them, we can email them, or we can snail mail them. Well, the one that has the least amount of influence is email, and that's what typically the only thing that loan officers and real estate agents are marketing to their databases via email, and it is by far the least influential. The most influential is phone calls. The problem with the phone calls, people go, well, Carl, I don't know what I would say. So I'm going to show you what to say here in just a second. Call your database, right? We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you how you can automate it. And we can show you how you can actually have somebody else doing it for you and yet get almost the same exact or maybe even better results than you're getting by certainly more results than you're getting by not calling your database, all right? So, so let's talk about this. So there's 3 ways that we can call our database. Number A, we can live phone calls from you. B, phone burner of software. We're going to talk about that. And then C would be a freedom caller, which is somebody else calling on your behalf. And I'm going to show you the script for that. So let me just tell you just briefly what phone burner is. So with phone burner, what you do is you get your database, right? And you upload it into this software called Phone Burner. And if you go to phoneburnerfreedom.com, they give you like a 20% discount because you're one of my friends. So on Phone Burner, you upload your database, and then you on their phone number, and then you log into Phone Burner, and Phone Burner said, "Are you ready to start calling?" And you'll say, "Yeah, I'm ready to start calling." And so you click a button, and Phone Burner will then call the first person on your list. And if it gets a live answer, then you just talk live to that person. If it gets a voicemail, you push a button, and it automatically leaves a pre-recorded message that you left, but it sounds like it's live. Like nobody's going to know that it's a pre-recorded message. They're going to think it's a natural message. You go, Carl, what's the advantage of doing that? Well, when you're calling 200 to 300 people and speaking either live or leaving a message to them, can we agree that certainly by the time you get to the 300th person, you're going to be wore out and you're not going to sound as energetic and chippery leaving your message? Frankly, it wouldn't take me 300. Probably by about the 20th time, the message starts to sound like, I'm going to start to sound automated because I'm leaving the exact same message, 20, 30, 40, 50 times. And it, to do that over and over is certainly a challenge. But with Phone Burner, number one, you're making your calls faster because it dials faster than you do. But number two, as soon as you hit a voicemail and push the button, while it's leaving that voicemail, right, in your voice, it's calling the next person already. And so on Phone Burner, you can average calling one person per minute, because about 70% of the time, and maybe even 80% of the time you call somebody, you're going to be getting a voicemail. And so if you called 100 people, 80 times, somewhere in that neighborhood, it'll be a voicemail. You just push a button, and while it's leaving your pre-recorded message that sounds live, it's going to go on to the next one. And again, if it catches a live call, well, then you're just connected live, right? So this is not one of those things where it leaves a pre-recorded message on everybody's phone, even if they answer live. This is not like that. Nobody's going to know that you're using an automated system. Well, another advantage of doing that, number one, you can make more calls that way. In a very short period of time, you can do what most people have never done, call their entire database because they have help doing it. But number two is if you have a freedom caller calling on your behalf, Remember, 80% of the time they're getting voicemail. Well, if somebody else was calling on your behalf, like if I was calling your database on your behalf, 80% of the time I'm going to hit voicemail. Well, when I hit voicemail, I'm going to push the button on my computer and it's going to leave your message in your voice on their answering machine, right, on their voicemail. And only 20 or 30% of the time are they going to actually answer the phone call, right? So if somebody else is calling on your behalf, the vast majority of your database, like 70 to 80%, is hearing your voicemail even though somebody else is doing it. So while you're out drumming up even more business, you can have somebody calling your database on your behalf. And keep in mind, having somebody call on your database, they're going to probably do it more consistent than most of us will. Now, I'm not telling you not to call your database. I'm telling you, for most people, having somebody else call their database is going to be the way to go because it'll happen each and every week like clockwork. That'll be their job. And keep in mind that this person wouldn't have to be in your office. They could be remote, but they can call from anywhere. And using Phone Burner, the caller ID that shows up will be your office phone number, right? So you can program it in what caller ID. So I love Phone Burner, phoneburnerfreedom.com. So that's the three ways that you can call. So so you can either you can hard dial by yourself. B, you can use Phone Burner yourself, which is totally cool. Or C, you can use Phone Burner and have a Freedom caller doing it so that 80% of the time it's your voicemail and 20% of the time that somebody actually answers, they call on your behalf, talking in third person. We'll go over those scripts here in just a second. So this is the voicemail. So whether you're calling by hand dialing and you catch a voicemail, this is what you leave. Or if you're using Phone Burner, this is what you pre-record and store in Phone Burner to dump on the voicemails when 70, 80% of the time you get a voicemail. And this is the script right here. It says, hey, this is Carl White from carlsagreatguymortgage.com. Hey, I helped you with your mortgage in the past. And I just want to give you a quick call and say thanks for letting me help you guys out. Hey, if you ever have any real estate or mortgage questions, please give me a buzz. Best number to reach me at is 555-1212. Hey, hope all's well. Hope to talk to you soon. Oh, also, if you have any friends or family members that could use some honest help, can I count on you to give me a call about that too? I'd be honored to help out. Well, I'll talk to you when you call back. Bye-bye. That's it. That's the script. That's the voicemail you're going to leave. Don't variate from it. Don't change it. Do it word for word. Now, if somebody's calling on your behalf, if you have a Freedom caller, it sounds almost the same way. It's just they never use the word I. They always insert in your name and use either he or she. So in other words, it would sound like this. So the voicemail would be the same. The voicemail would be your voicemail, right? Because on Phone Burner, it's your voice. So, but if you had somebody calling and they didn't have Phone Burner and they were leaving these messages, it would sound something like this. Hey, this is Carl White from Jimmy Smith's office. Jimmy helped you with your mortgage in the past, and Jimmy wanted me to give you a call to say thanks for letting him help you out. He also wanted me to tell you if you have any real estate or mortgage questions, you can just give him a call. Best number to reach Jimmy at is 555-1212. And Jimmy wanted me to tell you that he hopes everything's well with you guys, and he hopes to talk to you soon. Oh, one more thing. He wanted me to ask you if you have any friends or family members that could use some honest help. Could he count on you to give him a call about that too? He'd be honored to help you out. Well, he'll talk to you when you call back. Bye-bye. Right? That's it. It's said in third person. So now let's go to if somebody answers live. Well, on the live, it's basically the same script with a couple small changes, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So this is the live, and this is if you're making the phone calls. So it'd be, hey, this is Carl White from carlsagreatguymortgage.com. I helped you out with your financing on your home, and I just want to give you a quick call to say thank you again for letting me help you out with your financing needs. Hey, how are you guys doing? Question mark. Pause for answer, and then they'll give appropriate response. And typically they'll either say one of two things. They'll say, who is this? Because, maybe you haven't called them. They don't remember who you are for the first minute. And it's okay. Just repeat this part again. Hey, this is Carl from Carl's a Great Guy. I helped you with your financing on your home. I just want to give you a quick call and say thanks again for letting me help you guys out with your financing needs. How you guys doing? So just repeat this first part again, all right? And they're going to typically say, well, everything's fine over here, Carl. How's everything with you? And just give an appropriate response. Well, things are great here too. Remember, these are short phone calls. These are all these phone calls to your database. These are like 3-minute calls. Even if they answer live, these are like 3-minute calls. The only exception to that would be if they say, well, funny you should call, Carl. We are looking to refinance. Our kids just finished college. They're looking to buy a house. Keep in mind when we're marketing to our past database, these are not, a lot of people make a mistake here. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but it's important. These are not all refi leads, right? About half of our loans that we do to our past database are purchase leads, either from them or from their friends or family. So, some people say, well, when interest rates go up, there's no need to call my past database. That would be a huge mistake, because we find often, very often, that people are refinancing not just because they want to lower their rates, by the way, is they're refinancing. Maybe somebody's gone through a divorce. Maybe they're doing a cash out to pay for something. They're doing some debt consolidation. All kinds of reasons people refinance. So anyway, a little bit of a tangent there, but that's real important. So we go back to this. So how are you guys doing? And they're going to say fine. And again, 3-minute phone call, unless they start to give you a referral, or they're doing it themselves. And you need to update their application. So 3-minute phone call. So don't give a long answer here. This is just short and polite. Everything's fine over here too, right? And then I'll say, well, great. Hey, look, I don't want to keep you long, right? That's how you keep this to 3 minutes. I don't want to keep you long. I just want to say hi and thanks for letting me help you guys out with your home financing. And while I have you on the phone, is there anyone you know that needs help with buying or selling their house or refinancing? And most of the time they're going to say no at this time, because you're kind of, they're not expecting your call. You're kind of, you're just catching them. So most of the time it's going to be no. Where the leads come most of the time is when they call us back. But sometimes we do get leads on the actual live phone call. So do you know of anybody that needs help with buying or selling their house? And the reason why we say buying or selling, the reason why we say selling is we're looking for, if we can give referrals to our referral partners, nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing to do. That's not how we build our business, by giving out referrals, but there's nothing wrong with doing that way. So is anybody that needs help buying or selling their house? And most of the time they're going to say no. And then you say, well, can I ask you a favor? Always pause and make sure they answer that question. If they don't answer, ask it again. Can I ask you a favor? And everybody will only say yes, or it depends on what you're asking, right? Which is totally cool. And then I'll say, well, if you do hear someone, can I count on you to send them my way? Everybody's going to say yes to that. They go, well, thanks so much. I'd be honored to help out. It was great catching up. Looking forward to talking to you soon. And that's it. That's the end of the live call. Now, if somebody's calling on your behalf, like a freedom caller, most of the time, again, they're getting voicemail. They're dumping your message on their voicemail, but if they catch it live, it goes the exact same way. So like if I was your freedom caller, I would say, hey, this is Jimmy. I'm calling from, just say, Carl White's office from ABC Mortgage. Carl helped you with the financing in your home. He just wanted me to give you a quick call and thank you again for letting him help you out with your financing needs. He wanted me to ask you, how are you guys doing? Right? It's the exact same thing. He or she who's making your phone calls uses third person, and it's totally cool for somebody else to be calling on your behalf, right? The big companies do this all the time, right? So act like a big company, act like an extremely profitable company, and you'll be extremely profitable, right? So do the same thing the big guys are doing. All right. People say, well, Carl, what about people that I haven't talked about in a few years? You think it'll be kind of weird? Look, I had a breaking revelation about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's that people think about you a whole lot less than you think they do. Just call them. They haven't been sitting by the phone going, he doesn't call, she doesn't write, she never contacted me, and I'm sitting by the phone every day waiting for her call, right? With you being the loan officer, right? They're not sitting there waiting for you to call. They don't know that you're supposed to have been calling every month, every 4 times a year. So even if it's been 5 or 6 or 7 years, call them up. Right? Call them up. It's totally cool. I've never called somebody in my database and they go, Carl, you haven't called me for 3 years. The nerve of you calling me now, right? I've never had that happen. It'd be just like if you bought a car like 4 years ago and the car salesperson that sold you the car was to call you up and say, hey, how's everything going? and I'm the one that helped you buy that last car that you bought, and just calling up, see how that car is going. Hope you're enjoying it. Awesome. Hey, when you're looking to get another car, when you wear the wheels off of that one, hey, could I count on you to give me a call and see what we got over here at the over at the Mercedes dealership or wherever you buy your cars? You know, can I count on you to give me a call? And if you know of any friends that's looking for a car and they see you enjoying yours so much, can I count on you to refer them my way? Right? Even if you haven't talked about that person in 4 years, you're not going to think how weird, how dumb. I can't believe he called me after 4 years. You'd be probably pleasantly surprised that he remembered your name. Like, wow, I can't believe he remembered me. Right? So calling your database, they're going to think the same thing. It's totally cool. So just pick up the phone and call using these scripts on the database. So I got an action item. I want you to put the date and times for your calls for this year in your calendar right now. And how we do this, and I've seen this done different ways. I've seen people, hey, call your database, you know, pick 3 times out of the year and call your entire database those 3 times. And I actually used to do it that way. The problem with that, when we're calling our entire database all in one setting 3 times a year or 4 times a year, we get a whole bunch of loans all of a sudden, you know, at once. And sometimes it can actually be more than what you might handle, all the new leads you'll be getting from this if you haven't done it before. So I've seen it done a couple other ways. One way that I like is we're called 2 letters per week of the alphabet. In other words, this week, and you pick any day of the week. I kind of like Wednesday. Monday, we're calling our realtors. Tuesday, we're doing our updates. And Thursday, we're calling the people that we've pre-approved that's out looking for properties. And so that leaves Wednesday as a good day to call our database. So call 2 letters. In other words, this week, this Wednesday, I want you to call the A's and the B's. Next week, I want you to call the C's and the D's. Next week, I want you to call the E's and the F's, and so forth, right? Pick 2 letters. If you pick 2 letters, you're going to be calling them 4 times a year, which is the number that I like. And yeah, just do this. Just absolutely put, and I want you to put in your calendar right now which letters you're calling for the rest of the year. Keep in mind, you know, we don't call during Christmas week, and you know, and you know, obviously you're not going to be calling during your vacation again, unless you have a freedom caller calling your behalf. And you know, other than Christmas week, they're going to call every week. So just do this. I'm telling you, you're going to help them. And if you're not doing it, you're missing out on a ton of money. So just absolutely do this. So, and I told you about, I told you about Phone Burner. You know, if you only have like 100 or 200 people in your database, you know what I'm going to say? If you don't have at least 300 people in your database, get 300, right? I promise you, if you and family members and friends sit there and brainstorm, you can come up with 300 people, either closed loans or people in your past database. And I love the Phone Burner thing because it just automates everything. It makes it so much faster, so much easier. And you don't have to, when you hang up one call, you don't have to sit there and pick up that 500-pound phone and dial the next number. As soon as you finish one call, it's automatically dialing the next. By the way, it does another little cool thing is when it catches a voicemail, it'll also automatically email that person. If you got their email address, it'll automatically email them, and it'll say something like, hey, just left your message on your voice. I called you up, left a message on your voicemail, talk to you and call back. And it does that all automatically. So it's really cool. And I think this thing runs like, I don't know, it's like $50 a month or something like that. It's the biggest no-brainer ever. If you're marketing your database, closing 3 loans a month, you're going, you know, if you're getting $2,000 per deal, we're talking about $6,000 a month here. We're talking about a $72,000 raise for yourself. So that's what I would expect you to make. So just do this, right? Just do this. Okay. Let's talk about snail mailing now. So the most influential is a phone call. The second is a snail mail. And I've seen all kinds of different versions of the snail mail. And I'm going to show you 3 that I like in particular. I'm going to tell you what I find doesn't work as well. If you're sending like a brochure, corporate-y looking thing, you know, a flyer-ish looking thing, I have not found those to be very successful. And so I like them to look a lot more personal. And so there's 3 basic kinds that I like. I like one that's called the I appreciate you or the I like you letter. There's a Superman letter, And then there's I'm a real person just like you. And on this little example here, again, I probably made this more complicated than it needs to be honest with you. If there's 12 mail, I want you to send out a snail mail once per month, right? And so there'd be 12 months. And so you could rotate it, like send out and I'm going to show you examples of these, but send out the I Like You month 1, month 2, Superman, month 3, I Like You, month 4, I'm a real person, month 5, I Like You, month 6, Superman letter. So basically we're doing I Like You every other month, and then we're rotating the Superman and the I'm a real person just like you letter. So let's get some examples of some of these letters. You have got to get these things out though. And by the way, when you're doing these, when you're doing these, I'm going to talk about like what does an envelope look like, and are these handwritten? So let's go into it. So Joe Girard, if you look up in the Guinness Book of World Records, Joe Girard is the #1 car salesman in the world, right? On Earth, he's #1. Actually, he's listed as the #1 salesperson, right? If you look in Guinness Book of World Records, you'll see Joe Girard's name, #1 salesperson. And how he got that is, if you like in his book, Joe said the #1 thing that got him as #1 was his every single month he would send out a handwritten note that said nothing else other than I like you, right? It'd say I like you, Joe. And typically what he would do is he would find every month has a holiday. And so what he would do is he would look to see what is a holiday for that month. So if we look at, like if you happen to do that mailing in January, of course, it'd be New Year's Day. And you know, in July, it'd be the 4th of July and so forth. Every month has a holiday. So he'd pick out a holiday and he'd put, happy 4th of July, I like you, Joe, on a handwritten note, and he'd send that to his database. Well, the joke would go, they'd say, Joe, when are you going to change up that mailing? And he said, as soon as this one stops working. So it always worked. Now, here's the funny part, is he was asked, now, do all the other car salesmen in your dealership know you're #1? And he said, oh, of course they do. And they said, well, do they know what you're doing as far as sending out the I Like Yous that you attribute that to be the #1 thing? He said, absolutely they do. And then he was asked, how many of them are copying you? We already know the answer. None. Actually, that's just a special kind of stupid. I mean, just don't mail your database. So we kind of modernize this a little bit, and this is what the ones that we recommend send out. It's just I like you. So it's got the little Facebook like thing, and then that's on the outside of the card. And then when you open up the inside, it'll say happy 4th of July, and then your signature. How we do this is we print one of these, we sign one of them with a blue gel ink pen, a blue gel ink pen. You can pick them up at any Office Depot, or Walmart has them, just a gel pen. And when you do one and then send it to your copier, they can copy them and send out 300 of them, and they look like they're, they look like they're individually signed, yet you only did it one time, right? So this is something that you're going to take to your local professional copier. It'll cost like, nothing to do, nothing compared to the $6,000 a month that if the one closing per 100 per month should give you about 3 closings if you have 300. So it's just, I mean, I can't overemphasize. This is just like the biggest no-brainer ever. This is very cheap to do it. Now, I'm also going to recommend put somebody else in charge of this so that it happens every month, so that as your business is growing, as you're closing more loans, we don't want you to be the person to be in charge of doing the mailings, because you'll do it for a month or two and then you'll stop. You, me, and everybody else. And that's why we put somebody else in charge of marketing to our database for us, sending out the mailers. So that's the I Like You card. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if this was me, this is the only card I would send out. I'd send this thing out once a month. I'd send out every single month. Now, I'm going to tell you, some people might be hesitant to send it out because they go, well, gee, it sounds kind of weird. So let me show you. And again, I'm not picking fun at anybody here, but let me just show you something. So Andrew Pence, awesome guy, one of the members in the Freedom Club, our private clients. He sent out this. He said, hey, just sent out the first I Like You handwritten letters to my database on Friday. I've already received 6 calls, and one client even stopped in to bring me a referral, right? Somebody else replied back, hey, Andrew, I keep hearing over and over and over and over that this is a great thing to do, but it just seems a little awkward for me. It's like maybe it's a Miami thing. I just feel like people would like, but I'm glad to hear over and over and over and over again that it works, right? Don't be this person, right? Be Andrew. Send this stuff out, right? And I'm not making fun of this person, but I'm just saying, if you do the same thing you did last month, you're going to have last month's results. Maybe that's great news for some of you. But my suspicion is you're listening to this because you're going, hey, I want to grow my business. Send this stuff out and send it out just like we said. Don't overthink this stuff. Now, if you want to mix it up a little bit, I've seen some other examples. One is called what I call the Superman letter. In the Superman letter, this is an example of Tammy Platts, also in the Freedom Club. This is an example that Tammy Platts did, where basically what you do is you talk about one of your clients and how how they had an issue and you came and saved the day and helped them close, right? And maybe that was like, hey, we thought we needed a down payment, or I met Jane and John Doe. They thought they needed a large down payment. What they didn't know is there's still 100% financing, like with VA, or very low down, 3% financing with FHA, or whatever low down or whatever situation, or their credit was less than perfect. And what they didn't know is that there's programs for less than perfect credit, or just anything that there was an issue and you came and saved the day and then they closed. The very important part of this is you don't make this all about you. You make it all about them and how awesome they are, and help me congratulate them on buying their new house. So that's the Superman letter. So I find these very effective. So that's another version of a mailer you can send out. The thing I don't like about this is it takes time, it takes thought, and I don't want that part to hook, to be a roadblock and not get it done. You go, well, I got to sit and write the letter, and it might be a week or 2 or 3 or a month or 2 or 3 before you do that. So that's why I kind of like the I like you cards, but there's nothing wrong with this kind of mailer. In fact, there's a lot of good things. And keep in mind that when you offload this to somebody else, when you delegate this, you don't have to write the letter. Have them write the letter. If they can't write the letter, you got the wrong person. Hire somebody else, right? This is not rocket science here. The next letter is what I call the "I'm a real person just like you" letter, and I'm sure you've seen those. Like the letters, the family newsletters that typically people send out maybe at graduation time, or I've seen them at Christmas time. People send out like a little family newsletter. This is nice, short, and sweet, and it's a little newsletter type thing. And so this is by an awesome dude, Daryl Frenzel. Here's an example. And as you can see here, it's just nice. This is the entire thing, right? It's nice, short, and sweet. The important thing about this thing, it's short, it's sweet. It's only good news. We don't give bad news in this. Like if you just went through a divorce, or somebody in the family is sick, or God forbid, somebody's passed away, we don't write that kind of stuff in these letters. I'm not saying, bad things don't happen, and we can share that with our family and friends, but not in this letter. Not in this letter. This is a good news letter. And the important thing about this is I want pictures. And so you see here a picture of him and his lovely bride, and put a picture even of the dog, and here's the kids. And if you notice, these are not glamour shots. These are not like professional shots, because again, this is the "I'm a real person just like you." And so the kids are just, wearing, summer type stuff and just sitting there together, and here they are. And, again, it's not a glamour shot, just a really cool, friendly picture. That's the kind of stuff that you want to do. So "I'm a real person just like you." Very powerful letter. Now, on all of these things, you want to send these things out as handwritten envelopes. So you can see here's an example of Jay Dacey's, by the way. He since switched over to a computerized version of this. So this one was actually handwritten. But now what Jay sends out is it looks like it's handwritten, but his printer prints it in what looks like a handwritten font. Now, some people say, well, gee, it needs to be my handwriting. Look, nobody knows what your handwriting looks like, right? Remember, people think about us way less than we think they do. So you just send this off to a printer, and you give them your database, and they'll print on an envelope what looks like handwritten font, and that works well too. And I recommend putting, at least when you first start, putting a return address on here, and always use a live stamp. Number one, people open live stamps. Number two, people open handwritten. But number three, if you put your return address on here, if the letter isn't deliverable, like maybe that person's moved or something like that, then you'll get, the post office with a live stamp, first class stamp, will send that letter back to you saying, hey, it wasn't deliverable, and you can do your research, get their new address, or just take them off your database, save yourself a stamp. Keep in mind that between the printing of the letter, the folding of the letter, the stamp on the envelope, the having the printer print on your the outside in a handwritten font, these are going to cost you somewhere around $1.25 delivered. So somewhere around $1.25 for each mailer you send out per person, right? So if you have 300 people in your database, 300 times $1.25, which is a very small investment, to get 3, 4, 5 loans a month off of this, off of your 300. Now on this one, again, Jay sends out these little things here, and for those of you in the Freedom Club, Jay's kind enough to upload all of his mailers so that you can totally swipe these and borrow from him. He's a totally cool dude. But if you look at this, this looks like it was handwritten. Frankly, it looks like it was almost drawn with a crayon, with one of his kids. But he prints up one of these, and then he sends them to the printer, and they print 300 copies or 500 copies or 1,000 or 2,000, how many people's in your vast database. So each one looks like it was live, it was real for that person. It was drawn just for that person, but it's not, it's just copies. Always put your business card in your mailers, for compliance issues. And in this case, he actually put in $1 lottery ticket, right? Put $1 lottery ticket in because he did it on St. Patrick's Day, and he's, I'm lucky to have you as a friend. So that's what he sent out for this thing. So very, 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 very effective mailers. Here's another one he did. April showers bring May flowers. So obviously he sends this out in April, May, and he put in a little package of seeds. I think he said these seeds cost like a nickel or 10 cents a bag that he puts them in there. Again, with his business card stuffed inside. These are very effective, very, 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 very effective. And again, if you go on the Freedom Club website under marketing to your database, click on Jay Dacey mailers, and there's examples of some of the different mailers you do. And, do me a favor, Jay is a really super cool guy, and, he does this, he gives back. Thank him for it, right? Thank him for being such a cool dude and sharing his mailers with us. Very effective, super cool dude. All right. So we talked about phone calling our database. We talked about snail mailing. Now we're going to talk about emailing your database. So when you email your database, this is real short and sweet, guys. Don't send mortgage information. It's boring. Nobody cares about that stuff, right? Nobody cares about that stuff. Nobody cares about a bear market or what the bond market's doing. They don't care. They don't care. Remember, you're talking to, and I'm not saying this to be smart or condescending, but you're talking to America, right? What's their favorite show? They're following the Kardashians on TV, for God's sakes, right? So and again, I'm not bashing the Kardashians, but people don't want to read about mortgage information, right? So we send things like what's happening in your area and tips of any kind, like make it a little bit of fun, right? And you can mix it up with video marketing if you want to for agents. You can send out the agent mastermind invite or a business tip, right? But just kind of keep it a little bit fun. Now, I recommend you doing it once a week. And so what I do, or what I recommend for you to do is, like I live here in the Tampa Bay area, is go Google what's happening in Tampa Bay this weekend, right? And so I get on here and look, there's a pit bull festival here in the county just next to me, so it tells you a little bit about where I live. But like what I do is like things to do in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Times. So this is a local newspaper, and so go on there and they'll have what's happening in your neighborhood this weekend, right? And we just find something. We say, hey, this is Carl saw a couple really cool things, events that's happening, and I typically list 3. One event would be something kind of artsy fartsy, like maybe there's an art, or maybe the Florida Orchestra is coming to town, or insert in your orchestra. So something that's kind of artsy fartsy. Maybe there's like some sort of art festival down at the park where where people are selling paintings or craft shows or something like that. The second thing that I put in there is something for the kids. Maybe there's a little fair. The circus is coming to town. There's a kite festival. There's a snowmobiling festival, whatever. It's just something that you can involve the kids. And then the third thing I put on that email is something adult-ish. Again, keep in mind, I don't want to get controversial, and I'm not talking about anybody's lifestyle or anything like that. I'm just saying I'm blasting this out to my database. I don't want to come across as too much in their face about anything. And so something adult-ish would be like a wine tasting. Maybe there's a band coming to your area or something like that. So something adult-ish. So something artsy fartsy, something for the kids, something adult-ish. But I stay away from controversial items. And so the email would be, hey, this is Carl. Boy, what a great place we live in. And it's a great place to get out on the town. Hey, I saw a couple things. I saw 3 things that me and the family may go to this weekend. I thought I'd share with you. Artsy fartsy, something with the kids, something adult-ish. Hope to see it on the town. We live in a great area. Oh, by the way, if you're, and you don't have to say, oh, by the way, that's actually, I can't think of his name now. That's a tagline. Can't think of his name right now. He's a real estate coach. Buffini, that's it. Buffini, that's a tagline for Buffini. But I might, in the email, I would go, oh, one more thing real quick. If you know anybody needs to buy, sell, or refinance their home, can I count on you to give me a call when they do? I'd be honored to help them with honest help. Thanks so much. Talk to me to call back in. So that's it. Nice little short call to action on the email. And by the way, you can also do that as a video, right? You can do that email as a video and send the email out as a video link. But again, if you don't know how to do that, don't wait on that. Just send an email out that looks like a text. Don't make it look like it's coming from a corporate. Run everything through your compliance, of course. I'm not saying not to do that, but don't make these things look like a fancy brochure. Send it out as if you're sending it out to a buddy. That's going to get you best results. And sending out an email, people say, well, gee, Carl, it seems like once a week would be too often. Just real quick, this is a little chart showing how many people opt out versus how often you're sending an email. So we can look here, the people opt out of emails the most when you're sending once per month. Once per month has the highest opt-out. As you send more often, it actually goes down. The reason why I think this is the case is if you only send it once a month, they forget about you, right? They don't know who you are anymore. It's too long. It's too far apart. We look here, how the lowest opt-out was when they were sending once a day, right? But that's hard, right? Coming up with content every day is hard. So I like the curve kind of flattens out a little bit here, about 4 times a month or once per week. So that's what I do. So if you're sending out once per month, a brochure looking thing, man, the first thing we're gonna have to do is teach your database to reopen your emails. But email once a week. Keep in mind, phone calls more important, snail mail's next importance, emails the last. So I'm not saying don't do email, but I'm just saying that shouldn't be our focus. Now, the next thing we can do here as we kind of wrap this up is we send out text messages. So just real quick on our agents. So we have text messages we send out to agents, and we have text messages we send out to clients. Just real quick on the agents. Again, I know this may be a little out of context, but remember your realtors are in your database too, right? So on the real estate agents on Thursday, if we've already met them for coffee, like we've already done the coffee appointment with them, every Thursday we send out this text message, or I recommend that you send out this text message. The text message goes, who are you showing houses to this weekend that we need to pre-approve to make sure it's a good use of your time, ? Right? Who are you showing houses to this weekend that we need to pre-approve to make sure it's a good use of your time, ? And then always insert your name in, all right? So if you haven't met them for coffee yet on Thursday or a week, you send out this. How about that coffee tomorrow, ? Insert in your name. How about that coffee tomorrow, ? It's a great text to send out to your agents. So, by the way, when you send this out on Thursday, this will keep you from working on the weekends or help keep you from working on the weekends. They got all day Thursday, all day Friday to send over the text message or the information of who they're working this weekend so you can pre-approve, so you don't have to do that pre-approval on the weekend. All right, so get them to send it over on Thursday and Friday. How do you get them to send it over? You ask them. You ask them by sending out the text message. All right. And again, somebody else can send out your text message. Just hand them your phone and tell them to text off your phone. Or there's all kinds of software you can do where they're text messaging from a computer, but it's like whatever phone number you want to show up in the text message as the from is who it looks like it's coming from, but it's somebody in your office helping you with this. Now on our clients, our past clients or our database, if we don't have a huge past client yet, our sphere of influence, we send out like once, maybe twice a year. And like Christmas time is a good time to do this. And it's the one thing we do at our clients that doesn't have a call to action. So when we text message our clients, we just put, hope your holidays are awesome, insert in name. I use holidays at this point. Trust me, I'm not the government. I don't shy away from Christmas and my belief of or my knowledge of why Christmas exists. But I keep in mind that some people I send out from that's in my database have different religions, different belief systems than I do. And so, my Jewish friends, I wouldn't probably send out, hope your holidays are awesome. I'm sorry, I wouldn't send out hope your Christmas is awesome, because they don't celebrate Christmas, they celebrate Hanukkah. And there's other religions. So when I broadcast out these messages to somebody, I'm not sure what their religious faith is because I'm, doing it to so many. So I just put in, hope your holidays are awesome, insert in name. And that's it. So we want to do that like once a year, maybe twice a year. You might do it again 4th of July or something like that. So we have, so on our agents, we call them 1 to 2 times per week. And again, if you go on Thor's Hammer in our training, that talks about, what we say to the agents. But on our consumers, which is what this training was primarily about, on our consumers, we call them 3 times a year or 4 times a year using that 2 letters of the alphabet every week. We snail mail everybody once per month. I prefer keeping it simple. Just send a happy, Easter mailings. I like you, Carl. Happy 4th of July. I like you, Carl. Happy, insert in holiday. I like you, Carl. I mean, it's just so simple to do it that way, but there's nothing wrong with switching it up and doing the I'm a real person just like you or the Superman letter too. The email once per week, what's happening in our area, and the text message to the agents once per week. How about that coffee tomorrow, ? If you haven't met them for coffee. If you have met them for coffee, who are you working with this weekend that we need to pre-approve to make sure it's a good use of your time, ? Or text messaging out to our past database. Hope you have happy holidays. When you do this simple things, guys, and keep in mind, 100% of this you can farm off to somebody else, right? And this is not high dollar work, by the way, right? This is clerk work, right? This is not high dollar activity. But when you do this, what I would expect you to see, what we typically see, is 1 closed loan per month for every 100 people in your database. And again, as we said in the beginning, my friend Jay Dacey in the Freedom Club gets 2 to 3 loans per month for every 100 people he has in his database. So the results of this is outstanding. Just put this stuff to work, right? Put it to work. So, and put this into action. So stop everything else and get this up and going. This will take you like a week to get up and going, and then totally 100% farm it out to somebody else, right? It shouldn't even take a week, right? We're talking about simple emails. I showed you how to do that. We're talking about simple mailers. I showed you how to do that. And we're talking about a simple phone call. I gave you the script. Honestly, a couple hours, you can have this up and going, offload to somebody else. And then you have these loans coming in automatically while you're out farming new business from new sources, right? Biggest no-brainer ever. And it's the biggest thing that is totally not being done by most loan officers. So That's it. Hey, guys, thanks for being here in this training and put this stuff to work. So I'm Carl. I'll see you on the next training. Thanks again.